You're listening to the Drive Home Review podcast.
Hello, fellow travelers. My name is Luca Fiore.
I'm Eva Bee.
And we are driving home after watching Father, Son, and House of Gucci. Wow, we didn't even rehearse that. Good job.
No, I knew that you would want to do that.
Yeah.
And everyone's gonna do it. That's gonna be the bane of Lady Gaga's existence. All because she wanted to improvise a fun line.
It's pretty iconic,
That's
though.
the story. Iconic? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how.
How iconic this whole movie is?
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. What is House of Gucci,
House
Eva?
of Gucci is a story about the family of Gucci, the legacy, arguably ruined by Patrizia Reggiani, who marries into the family. However, she manipulates husbands and then he destroys family legacy in his own right. Well, it's just about her. This is public. This is a true crime story.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, she murders the Gucci. And played by Adam Driver, Maurizio.
Yes.
And it's a Ridley Scott film.
Yeah. The person that brought you Alien and Gladiator brought you House of Gucci. Yes, starring Lady Gaga. Did you mention this?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, well, starring Lady Gaga and Adam Driver and fucking Jared Leto and Al Pacino,
Jeremy Irons,
and Selma Hayek. Let's go, stars. All the stars out tonight. Okay, Eva.
Yes.
You're the big Gaga fan.
I am.
Let's start with
I just realized that the second last Drive Home review we did was A Star is Born. So this is the officially Drive Home Gaga's.
The Gaga review.
Yeah?
Hey,
what would you like to know?
Let's first talk about Miss Gaga.
Her performance was very good.
Yes.
She was very captivating. I found that she really made the character very rich and vibrant, and you were immediately infatuated by her, as Maurizio probably was.
Yeah.
Adam Driver's character.
May I say about Miss Gaga is that there were some elements of A Star is Born that I really took, that I felt that maybe she had taken her experience from that and adapted to this role. And I only say that because I know it's all very flashy and very gaudy and high fashion, as it were, but it all somehow still felt very natural. Like, there are these very sweet moments of their relationship kind of kindling.
What are you talking about? Star is Born or this movie?
Oh, this movie. I was talking about how, from A Star is Born, her performance felt very natural, very, honest and sincere. And I felt that same sort of sincerity from this performance as well. Although they're two completely different people, and I can feel that.
Yeah, it's nice to see that she's not like a one-dimensional actress.
No,
she can really inhabit a character. Yeah. I haven't really seen any other, I guess, Oscar contenders this year, but there's buzz. Will she get the Best Actress? Do you think it's an Oscar-worthy performance?
Yes, I haven't seen enough movies this year to think that, but I did find myself pretty infatuated with this character.
Since we're on the topic, sorry.
Yes. No. I found myself very intrigued and infatuated by Miss Gaga's performance as Patrizia. If
I were to Oscar nod anyone else in the movie, it would be Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
And Jeremy Irons isn't in it for that long, but he fucking was so good.
They could do a double supporting actor thing about this. That being said,
although Jared Leto was awesome too. He was such good comic relief.
Now, I want to bring that up.
Okay.
We're going from actors and we're going to comic relief, and it brings a great segue to this movie is actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
And I gotta ask, do you think it was meant to be funny?
I think so.
Okay, that's good to know.
I think maybe just to break it up. I don't know. I just found, like, that's what I realized was so entertaining about it, is that it took you through, like, a lot of motions. I don't know. It wasn't very, like, a very one-dimensional movie. I found that it
was 100% not what I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be very,
so
very
dramatic,
stereotypical biopic-y sort of thing. Like, one of my favorite movies of this whole genre it's the Steve Jobs movie with Michael Fassbender. I think it's called just Jobs, or it's called Steve Jobs. Now I can't remember. But that's a biopic movie about a guy, and obviously all of it's very Hollywood driven. All of it's very unbelievable that all these things would happen so conveniently.
You did say that leading up to the movie. You're like, it's gonna be like the Steve Jobs movie. I'm like, okay.
But I think that that's a good thing, because frankly, it's a good thing that it wasn't like that. I like the Steve Jobs movie, and the fact is like, all of it, I really doubt that all of this happened the way that it happened on camera, and yet I see it filmed in front of me, and I find myself like, you know what, I'm not mad about the way that they would portray this thing.
You mean to heighten the reality?
Heighten reality is a very good way of putting it.
Okay, I wasn't really sure what you meant by that.
Their version of heightened reality, or Ridley Scott's version of heightened reality, I felt was apt.
Well, yeah, it was very evocative. Like all the locations they picked in Italy, really immersed yourself in the world of where Gucci, this fashion empire, began. And all of so much espresso and mineral water at tables, I was just like, I feel like I'm right at home.
La musica.
The music was so good. It was so eclectic.
Mostly hits, couple of misses.
Yes.
I would say.
Yeah, you were not feeling the faith at the wedding.
At the wedding,
George Michael's faith.
I'm like,
hey, King Ting, nice to see you.
Yeah,
we got some people in the chat.
Yeah, nice. Faith by George Michael. Hey, great movie. Great music, great song. Really didn't feel appropriate in this part for some reason. I don't
know, faith, Catholic Church. I don't know. Maybe Ridley Scott's doing something.
I understand. It's just
a little funky.
If you're gonna be on the nose, that nose better. That's a big nose to be on when you're.
But yeah, the music was really good in this movie. A combination of Italian classical. It really, because like the movie spans from, I guess, the late 70s to the mid 90s. So they picked songs, like pop songs of the eras to really put you in the mood. We have a quick tech question.
Yeah?
How is this camera not shaking?
Well, whomever asked that,
King Ting.
We got thank you, King Ting. It's on a little suction cup mount attached to the front of the car, and it works really, really well. What else did I want to bring up? The length of this movie.
So yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes. We had to pay additional parking.
Yeah,
because,
so Ridley Scott.
Previews. Can we review the previews? All these movies look like they suck.
Couple of stinker previews for sure. But I want to stay on topic of House of Gucci. 2 hours, 45 minutes.
So our friend said that he wishes that it was even longer, like a mini-series. You were saying it was too long as a movie.
And I'm going to borrow
Explain.
I'm going to borrow something from another film review podcast, that sometimes what they like to do is at the end of their episodes, they like to ask questions like, should this have been a 10-episode Netflix series? And I will say perhaps yes.
You want to know more about her mental descent into wanting to murder her husband.
We could have done this I would have said, this is an imperfect movie for its length of time. This is either a miniseries or it's a 2-hour movie. It is not an in-between.
What would you have cut out, though?
There are so many instances that I could have cut out.
But you gotta have the fashion shows.
You gotta have fashion shows. But
Okay,
the fact
thank
is
God.
there were like, how many fashion shows were there?
2.
2?
Yeah.
This is House of Gucci. There were 2 fashion shows.
Good
Let's
point.
bring that up for
That's
just a
actually a
moment
good
here,
point.
folks.
However,
2 fashion shows.
Eventually, the characters were all kind of dressed in Gucci.
3 fashion shows if you count. It's Paolo's one that got
my God,
axed.
Paolo's.
Poor Paolo.
Yeah. Jared Leto as Paolo, again, so good. Such comic relief.
Yes, whether it was intentional or not is another thing. But
Maybe it kind of evolved. The character evolved to become kind of comical. And Ridley was like, all right.
Yeah, maybe like he was developing that sort of thing on set. He's like, hey, I'm in a fat suit.
Oof.
Isn't that weird? I haven't pooped for 3 days.
What would you have removed from the movie then?
Oh, it's so difficult to answer these questions when like you just walked out of it. But I'm sure that if I had that on a timeline, that entire film on a timeline, I could have told the exact same story within the regular 2-hour window. I'm like, what are you guys doing? What are we doing here with this 3 hours? Stop.
By the way,
Stop
this review show is full of spoilers, so if you wish to not be spoiled, please do not continue to watch. But I want you to watch.
Not that there's much to spoil. If we're being really real, what are we spoiling?
Well, I'm about to get into a bit of a spoiler.
Okay.
So, one thing that I actually wasn't so enamored by in this movie was Selma Hayek, and like every time Selma Hayek was there, I'm like, I guess we're trying to establish that you're the one that put murdering on Gaga's mind, but we're not sure. I don't know, I thought all the scenes with Selma Hayek were kind
Selma
of
Hayek
boring.
plays what?
Her Lady Gaga's psychic,
Yes.
who I guess
Patricia is
they
there.
become friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really, you know when you see those like psychic hotlines on TV.
Yeah, that scene though
yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that where I called, like, it's like, call me now, Miss Cleo, call me now. And like, you call her now and she freaking picks up on the TV screen. I've always wanted something like that to happen. And Ridley Scott, he just made it happen for me. I'm like, well, that's nice, isn't it?
We have a good pun here. Murdering is always on Gaga's mind. Because she murders the stage.
Okay, well.
Slaying. She slays. Slay.
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 All right.
Okay. And the review's done.
I feel that I can safely make a decision on whether or not people should in fact watch this, but I'm just trying to like draw back to any kind of, oh yes, there is one thing I wanted to talk about in addition.
Yes.
The only thing I can think to compare this movie to really, other than that Steve Jobs thing, which is just because they're both kind of like biopic movies, is a series that came out recently about the killer of Gianni Versace.
Yes.
And that was, 10 episode, 13 episode?
I think it was 8?
8 episode?
I don't remember actually.
I'm saying, that was pretty entertaining.
Why are
and
all these murders in the fashion world in the 90s?
Yo, fashion world, calm down. What are you, the wrestling industry?
Also, people, stop murdering other people.
Yo, chill
It's
out.
not cool. You'll probably get caught, or you'll go crazy and kill yourself. What's the point? Go to therapy. What the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah, deep thoughts. Don't murder. That's the moral of this episode.
Basically, I'm getting back to, all I can think is, and it gets back to, should this have just been a series? Honestly, I bet Ridley Scott was probably in front of a couple of executives with Amazon or Netflix or whatever.
You think so? With that stacked cast?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Stacked.
Whether or not that stacked cast would have been on a TV series. But, hey, that's what I think regarding this movie. It's really unfortunate, that freaking runtime. Dang, it's so.
I'm pretty tired.
I mean, geez, it makes it so that as I'm wrapping up here, I would not recommend this movie. I think
because it's too long.
It is not worth your time.
Well, would you recommend watching this movie at home in 2 parts?
I mean, maybe. I feel like a lot of people end up doing that now, is just watch at their leisure. But this is not a theater experience. You don't get like, it's not like a special effects, heavy
audio
movie.
effect thing. But you know what? I found it highly entertaining. So I think it's worth your time.
Worth your time, not worth your time.
Are we allowed to drive with the lights on is another question we have. I've wondered this myself since the beginning of this. But we drove past a cop and they did not stop us.
I've been pulled over once, but that's because I didn't have my headlights on at all.
Do you want to edit the movie down and do your own Valkyline cut?
Oh, I don't care enough about this
Wow.
movie to do that. That's the truth.
Will you be upset if it wins a bunch of Oscars?
Yes.
We just talked about how good their performances were, though.
Maybe some acting performances, but it does not, it does not deserve a best picture or best writing.
I mean,
or best movie.
It was a lockdown year,
Hey, Dune came out.
Did you like... Oh, yeah, you haven't seen Dune.
I haven't seen Dune.
Oh, my God. Dune. Well, stay tuned for the review of Dune coming soon.
Hey, Dune, where's my sandworm?
Hey, all right.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.